everybody! This is Splash of Gas with Dave Weicker, a NASCAR and racing podcast. What great racing to start the weekend! Nail-biters in the Duels, trucks, and ARCA, which sets the table for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Saturday night race. Jesse Love, Austin Hill, Justin Allgaier, Taylor Gray, among many others, get set for 300 miles. Then the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. Will William Byron get the historic three-peat? Could a past winner get to victory lane again? Michael McDowell, Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Denny Hamlin? Or would it be a first-time winner in the 500? Bubba Wallace, Brad Keselowski, Tyler Reddick, Kyle Busch, or many others. Breakdowns of the O'Reilly race and, of course, the 500. Yellow flag, green flag, discussions with Dave, paint scheme of the week, garage chat with Josh Williams, full-length interview with Cup Series driver Daniel Suarez as he goes over the recent 500 and his climb into the sport, Truck, O'Reilly, and Cup predictions for Atlanta, plus the drivers to look out for in that one, and so much more on this episode of Splash of Gas. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weicker, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weicker. Now for our O'Reilly Auto Parts Series Garage Chat with driver of the 92, Josh Williams.
David Weicker here with Josh Williams. Just did the qualifying, coming back home to DGM in the 92. How you feeling, man?
Good, real good, man. You know, we're on the splitter a little bit too hard in qualifying there, lost a little bit of speed, but I think we're going to race real good, you know. Super happy to be back here with everybody at DGM, you know, ready to get the season rolling here in Daytona.
Heck yeah. You know these races are long. How do you stay patient in a long 300 miles here today?
Yeah, I mean, you know, it's speedway racing, right? We've have a lot of new people that either haven't ran this before or, you know, haven't ran our series. So it's going to be a little tricky. I think it's going to be a fun and eventful night. We just got to stay out of trouble, and me and Reed will work good together on reading what's happening and, you know, put ourselves in a good position to have a nice, clean race car at the end of the race.
You've been working with Reed Sorensen, Rito, for several years. He comes back with you to DGM. What's it like continuing working with him?
Yeah, man, I love Reed. You know, we've been working together for a while, and it makes it easy, right? You know, because we know each other so well. So, you know, he knows what I'm thinking, and I know what he's thinking.
Got it. Best of luck, Josh.
Thank you.
Now for the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series recap from Daytona. They would get things going Saturday evening. After qualifying, RCR cars continue to show its firepower with Austin Hill on the pole, followed by teammate and last year's champ, Jesse Love, making up the front row. The carnage would even start before the pack hit the start-finish line, as a stack-up would occur, collecting 12 cars in total. Crazy way to start the race. Austin Hill and William Byron restart. The rest of the stage would go green and be won by Austin Hill. But coming at a turn 4 on the final lap of the front stage, Gio Ruggiero is hooked and hits the wall hard, ending his day. This also collected Sheldon Creed and Nick Sanchez. Jesse Love and Hill restart the middle stage. Again, Austin Hill would set the pace and lead throughout, winning stage 2. Austin Hill and William Byron restart for the third and final stage. Only red flag of the race would occur on lap 92. After a big one would occur, Ryan Sieg and Jeb Burton tangle, collecting 6 others, including Sam Mayer and Natalie Decker. More on those two in discussions with Dave. 8 laps later, another big wreck involving 13 cars. Craziness with such big wrecks throughout this one. 3 more cautions would see Austin Hill and Sammy Smith restart with 2 laps to go. Just like he's been all night, Austin Hill is victorious in Daytona to start the 2026 O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. Now the one we've all been waiting for, the Daytona 500 recap. With wet weather in the forecast late in the day Sunday, NASCAR made the smart call to move the race up an hour. Thunderbirds got the crowd pumped. Drivers, start your engines. Then it's go time. After winning the pole on Wednesday, Kyle Busch, then alongside Chase Briscoe, would take the pack to green for the 2026 edition of the running of the Great American Race, the Daytona 500. After an early yellow for a BJ McLeod spin, Busch and Joey Logano restart. The rest of the stage would stay green. After a cycle of green flag pit stops, it would take us to the end of stage 1, which would be won by Zane Smith, his first stage win of his career. Ryan Blaney and Austin Cindric restart for stage 2. First yellow of the middle stage occurred after Connor Zilisch and Justin Allgaier trigger a multi-car crash. Ross Chastain and Kyle Busch restart the following green. As the laps would count down in stage 2, the intensity would be cranked up. 6 laps to go. Allgaier and Hamlin touch, spinning out, triggering a big one, collecting 19 cars in total. Holy cow! Bubba Wallace was ruled the leader at the time of the wreck and wins stage 2. Wallace and Corey Heim restart for the third and final stage of the Daytona 500. Most of the final stage would stay green as the pack starts to save fuel. 19 laps to go, the first drivers come to pit lane for the final round of pit stops. 8 to go. Christopher Bell and Denny Hamlin make contact exiting turn 4 as both hit the wall. This collects 3 more. Michael McDowell and Tyler Reddick restart with 4 to go. Who would be ready to win the 500? Carson Hocevar gets a big push, leading to the white flag. 1 lap to go. Exiting the tri-oval, Eric Jones bumps Hocevar, causing Hocevar to spin, which triggers a multi-car crash that collects 13 drivers in total. Chase Elliott emerges as the leader on the backstretch, but Tyler Reddick gets a huge run in turn 4 and moves from 3rd to 2nd, then gets alongside Elliott for the lead, entering the tri-oval. Coming to the checkered flag, Tyler Reddick pulls ahead as a crash collects behind them. Brad Keselowski, Riley Herbst, Logano, and Elliott, Ricky Stenhouse Jr. all wreck. Tyler Reddick wins by .308 seconds over Ricky Stenhouse Jr. What a finish. If you haven't watched it, please watch that replay. I've been watching it nonstop. That finish of this year's 500 was awesome. More on that on Discussions with Dave. Now for trivia question time. This episode's question is, Tyler Reddick is the 4th all-time driver to score his first 9 Cup Series wins at 9 different tracks. Bill Elliott and Jeff Gordon are 2 more. Name the 3rd. Answer coming at the end. Quick look back at the predictions we made for O'Reilly and the 500. O'Reilly went with Jesse Love, who was running up front. His teammate wins it as Jesse finishes 9th. 500, I picked Ryan Preece. He finished the race backwards and 25th. Yellow flag, green flag. O'Reilly. Wrecking before the yellow. First race of the season. I get it. Missing a shift. Stack up happens. Wreck back in the field. Gotta dust the cobwebs off somehow, but tough way to start the race. Green flag O'Reilly. Richard Childress Speedway on this series has been lights out. And that starts with Austin Hill. Can he do another Daytona Atlanta sweep? It's starting to look like that again. More on that in the predictions. Yellow flag for the 500. Good for BJ Cloud to get in the 500 with Anthony Alfredo not passing inspection at the end. Unfortunately, BJ was a part of the first yellow. His suspension would fail on one of the turns, hitting the wall, ending his day. He finishes last. green flag Daytona 500. Gotta give it to Tyler Reddick. He plays his cards right. Little bit of luck and a help from his teammate Riley Herbst. Tyler Reddick goes on to win. Now for discussions with Dave. More on the same topic, that epic finish. So many things occurred on that last lap, it felt like an eternity. And big kudos to NASCAR when they have that wreck out of turn 2 on the backstretch involving all those drivers. They could have whipped out the yellow flag. They did not, and they let them race to green. Great call there. Then it was looking like Elliott and Reddick were going to drag race each other. 47 of Ricky Stenhouse Jr. gets in the mix. He was making a charge, but slips a little bit at the end. Then comes the 35, a sight for sore eyes for Reddick, which is his teammate Riley Herbst. Herbst gives Reddick a big push. Riley tries to break off behind Elliott to get a push. He is not clear, and Brad Keselowski and Herbst wreck. Brad did not like that move. He was vocal about that post-race. More on that in the next topic. All in all, one of the best 500 finishes in a while. What a show those Cup drivers put on. Now, Riley Herbst versus Brad Keselowski. Of course, Riley Herbst gives a big push to Tyler Reddick, and that what really powered Reddick through the tri-oval and being the first across the start-finish line. Riley Herbst himself, of course, is trying to win the Daytona 500 as well. And yes, he's in his second year of full-time Cup competition, but was in the O'Reilly then Xfinity Series for a long while. Keselowski came out and said post-race, Herbst's move was the dumbest he've ever seen, wrecking the field. If you watch it closely, I don't feel like it was done on intent. Riley Herbst is trying to win the race. And it's a super speedway, and that was super speedway racing. Coming to the checkered flag for the 500, anything can happen. I think Brad was a little bit harsh with his choice of words, but hey, I do get it for him. He has been trying for all these years at the 500 and has not been successful. We've seen Brad have success on super speedways, just cannot punch his ticket to victory lane for the 500 yet. Moving along, Michael Jordan in victory lane. With Tyler Reddick winning, yes, he is a part of 23XI Racing, which is owned by Michael Jordan and Denny Hamlin. Michael Jordan, if you don't know, from North Carolina, has been a lifelong race fan, going to races as a kid growing up. And you could see how pumped up MJ was in victory lane. He said this was like winning a championship for him. So exciting to see a legend like MJ in NASCAR, and now he's a Daytona 500 owner. Congratulations to everyone at 23XI Racing. Last but not least, on Discussions with Dave, Part 1, the Xfinity wreck that a lot of people saw coming. Sam Mayer is involved in one of the big wrecks in the third stage of the O'Reilly Series race. He's wrecking in turns 3 and 4, sliding down the track and then sliding back up the track. And it seemed like Natalie Decker had at least a long time to see the direction that Mayer was going. Decker tries to gas it up on the outside lane, but doesn't make it in time and hits Sam Mayer. Natalie Decker on her radio after was complaining that it was all Mayer's fault. I mean, if you saw how hard the way that Mayer hit, nothing on that car was working. The brakes, the suspension was all broke. And Natalie Decker, say what you want to say about her. She does have a good amount of NASCAR seat time in the truck series. I know not in Xfinity. I think it's, 12 or 13 races in Xfinity she has ran. Just not the best look for Natalie there. And there was several people and several female racers that have came out and said, against what Natalie did and saying it does not paint a good picture for females in motorsports. Taylor Reimer, an ARCA driver, several others were outspoken on this topic. In the end, any publicity might be good publicity. Going into Daytona, Decker was set to run 2 races, Daytona and Pocono. If you look at Natalie's social medias, sounds like she was adding more partners. After all this news involving her in Daytona, she might be adding more races. And that wraps up Discussions with Dave, Part 1. Now for NASCAR History Time. The season ending of 1992 happened at Atlanta Motor Speedway. It stands as one of the most dramatic and significant season finale races in NASCAR history. The event saw the final Cup Series start for 7-time champ, the King, Richard Petty, and was also the first Cup Series race for future Hall of Famer Jeff Gordon. 5 drivers entered this one with a mathematical shot at the championship. However, Davey Allison was eliminated in a crash. Then the narrow title fight was a showdown between Alan Kowicki, a determined driver-owner, and Georgia's own Bill Elliott. Elliott went on to win the race, but the championship came down to laps led. Kowicki strategically paced the field for more than 1 lap than Bill Elliott, earning 5 valuable bonus points for leading the most laps. Those points proved decisive, giving Alan Kowicki a razor-thin 10-point advantage to secure the 1992 championship. The Polish Prince became the first true driver-owner to capture a Premier Series championship. Now for Paint Scheme of the Week, Part 2. We just saw this driver finish second in the Daytona 500, and if you were at Daytona this past weekend, you might have seen a lot of Chef Boyardee being giving out. I myself did eat a couple cans, and beefaroni still tastes like beefaroni. Nonetheless, the paint scheme that they had on the 47 was really neat. If you haven't seen it, please check that out. Now our full-length Splash of Gas exclusive interview with Cup Series driver Daniel Suarez. Next guest we bring on the Splash of Gas drives the Spire number 7 Chevy in the NASCAR Cup Series. Everybody's amigo, Daniel Suarez. Thank you so much for joining, Daniel.
Thank you so much, David. I appreciate you. Super excited to start another year racing in NASCAR.
Yeah, of course. But before we get into all the Daytona action, your path to the Cup Series was not the typical for most. You're from Monterrey, Mexico, grew up racing karts. In 2011, you make the move to America to follow your racing dreams. What was it like moving to the U.S. at such a young age?
Yeah, it was definitely a challenge, especially because I didn't speak English, that I would say that was the toughest barrier. I mean, that along with the money. I didn't have any money to really rent an apartment or to do anything like that to establish myself here. So it was a little bit of a struggle, but those are the things that really make you work harder and give you some character. So in a way, I feel like all those struggles really helped me to become a better person and a driver.
Awesome. Thanks for touching upon that. Not the typical things that a young driver has to overcome. You debut in the Xfinity Series in 2014. Then in 2016, when you're running for Joe Gibbs, you get your first win in Michigan onto a 3-win season, which ended in your victory in Homestead, Miami, which secured the Xfinity Championship that year. What was like the end of that year for you, knowing the sacrifices your family had made for you? Must have been validating to win that championship.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, it was just a validation that hard work and dedication sooner or later it pays off. Because there were a lot of times that already there were doubts if I was going to be able to learn the language, if I was going to be able to have a shot. And all these things, and just a handful of years later, I was able to win a championship, in one of the highest levels of NASCAR. So that was definitely special, and that was the foundation for everything else.
Awesome. After that championship, you make the jump to the Cup Series the following year. Then in 2021, you land with Trackhouse. And next year in 2022, you get your first Cup Series win in Sonoma. Remember watching that race, the excitement from the fans, you. What was it like to win at the Cup Series level?
Yeah, definitely very special. You as a driver, you want to win in everything that you drive. And to have the opportunity to win in the Cup level, in the Xfinity Series, in the truck Series as well, is definitely special. But just like everything, you get one, and then you want two, and then you get two, and then you want three, and you always aim for more, and you always continue to work trying to continue to be successful. So that was definitely one of the best moments of my career, that first win. With that being said, I use that as a foundation to continue to build more.
Great motivation to drive you for sure. Really want to ask you the next question. I was in turn 4 in Atlanta in 2023. That was the best finish I've ever seen. You, Blaney, Kyle Busch, 3 wide in turn 3 and 4, coming to the line. My mouth literally dropped when you guys went past. Such a tight race. How were you able to come out with that one in Atlanta in 2023?
Well, I wish, and I can say here that I was a hero right from that moment. But in reality, any of us could have been in that position. I was fortunate that the timing of the move, it worked out in my favor. But any of the 3 drivers that we finished there, Ryan, Kyle, and myself, we could have won that. Obviously it was extremely, extremely close. So really, the key for those kind of situations is execution, right? And putting yourself in that position. You never know that it's going to be that tight. You never know that you're going to 100% win the race, but at least you increase your chances. And that's what we did on that race, right? We put ourselves in the right position at the right time, and we gave ourselves a good percentage to have a shot to win the race, and that's how it worked out.
Gotcha. Executed that one for sure. I still get goosebumps thinking about that one. Before we get into this year's action, NASCAR is racing last year in Mexico. You win the Xfinity race. What was it like for you winning in front of the hometown fans?
For me, that was one of the most special wins of my career as well. I feel like I have had a lot of that one. But that was a very special moment for me, just for the fact that I got to win in front of all my people, of all the people that have known me for many, many years, and it was such a special moment. It's very hard for people to really understand how big of a deal that was. Not just to have one of the biggest stock car events in my home country, but also to be able to win it, and not just that, but to be able to win it in a backup the way that we did, starting from the back. So it was almost like a movie, the way the things work out. So once again, we put ourselves in position, and we were able to execute a good race.
Glad you got to experience that win in front of the hometown fans. It definitely looked special out there last year. No, this season just started, but after several seasons at Trackhouse, they make the call not to bring you back. You land with Spire. This isn't the first time you've switched teams at the Cup level, but how has this transition been?
It's been very good, actually. It's been very good. It was definitely time for a change. There were a lot of things that they were just not working out anymore with Trackhouse, and I was it was sad a year ago, but it was relief 6 months ago. So it was. I'm super happy where I am right now. Honestly, I couldn't be any happier. I think that I have a great group of guys, a lot of good racers, and a lot of people very hungry for success. And I think that slowly we are getting better and better, communication-wise, detail-wise, to be able to compete for wins and we have shown that. So looking forward to continue to do that.
Yeah, really, really exciting to see that 7 up front already this year. The exhibition clash gets pushed to the middle of the week with all the snow, wet weather in the second half of that race, full of cautions. How did you come up with the P4 at Bowman Gray? It seemed like very tough conditions out there.
Yeah, I mean, once again, it's everything about execution, right? The conditions were tricky, but they were the same for everyone. So just trying to adapt and trying to adjust as we were going. I honestly think that we're going to have a real shot to fight for the win, but we had some damage in the front suspension that it really messed up my car towards the last 25 laps or so, and at that point it was also a surviving deal for the 17. So I'm glad we were able to survive in a top 5, but I mean it's always what it could have happened, right? But a lot of people can say the same thing. So I feel like we did a good job with what we had, and just wish that we could have raced to the end without damage and see what could have been different.
Got it. A lot of bumping and banging in that one, but I appreciate you touching upon that. Getting into Daytona, Wednesday night single car qualifying, your P39 on the board. Following night, you finished 7th in the first duel. Had some few more practice sessions, but how was the car feeling going into Sunday?
Yeah, so I mean we finished 7th in our duel, but unfortunately we had some damage that we were in the fence if it was worth to fix the car or going to a backup, and we decided to go to a backup, which I think was the right call. But for some reason the backup car it was good, it was very, very good. But there were a couple of things that it was never as good as the primary. And obviously we were strong. I feel like we had a great car on Sunday. But handling-wise, there were a couple little things that they just didn't match the primary. So, I mean, overall, the team did a great job with everything that we had. But I feel like we just needed a little bit better handling and maybe a little bit better green flag cycle at the end to have a real shot.
Okay, got it. It got crazy there in the final laps, as you know. You were sitting P23 with 2 laps to go. You make a charge on the bottom lane and get past those wrecks and come out with a P13. I'm sure you wanted to be up in front of that mix, of course. But what did you see, and how would you sum up your day in the 500 for the 17?
Yeah, I mean it was a little bit of a tricky day. I wish it was a little bit different when it comes to especially the saving fuel. I mean, I think that it's starting to become a little bit too much. I hope you guys don't enjoy that, but because I certainly don't. But I think that overall we did a good job as a team executing a good race. But the very end, the last green flag cycle, the one that really mattered the most, we just didn't execute it properly. We needed to do a better job, and we just lost a lot of track position. I was sitting in a pretty good spot, saving fuel to jump in the cycle with the front guys, just like the 45 or the 9 did, which I was actually right next to them. And our cycle just didn't work out as good. So, that's the way it works sometimes. I mean, we saw a few things that maybe we could have done better, some things that we just couldn't control. So, a shame that we just lost track position when it mattered the most.
Got it. Left some on the table, and do appreciate the honesty there, Daniel. Looking on the next weekend, we're just talking about your past Cup win in Atlanta. Cup Series travels to Atlanta this upcoming weekend. After P4 in the Clash and P13 in the 500, you just said that you have a lot more to build on. But do you feel like that you're building some momentum in the 7 car right now?
Yeah, no, for sure. I think that. I mean, if you think about it, we have finished in the top 10 on every on every stage and on every race that we have had this year so far. I mean, including the clash stages, the duels, and all that kind of stuff. So that's promising. We have to just continue to do that, continue to be smart, continue to build on top of that. Yesterday, we had a bunch of meetings in talking about communication, a couple little things, how to improve. And that's the beautiful thing, is that we're not doing anything wrong, but there is a few things that we can do a little bit better, and that's amazing. I'm very, very happy and pleased with that. So if we can continue to clean up a few things, I feel like we are going to be real contenders for victories very soon.
Awesome. Appreciate the insight there where you feel like you have to get better. Last question, and besides winning each weekend, what are your goals for you in the 7 team this year?
Well, I mean, it's going to be very easy for me to sit here and just tell you that we want to win. But the difficult part is not to tell you how that we want to win. The difficult part is how we're going to do it. So the goal is to focus in the process, being the best process possible to be able to capitalize on victories. I think that's going to be the main thing. How we're going to manage to win races, and focusing on the process and the little details. How am I going to work together with my teammates? All those kind of things. If we can do those things right, I believe that we're going to be able to win races.
Got it. Always good to focus on those small details, especially for the execution, like you were just saying. Really do appreciate all the insight, Daniel. Wonderful talking to you. Hope to see you out at the track again sometime soon. And best of luck in Atlanta. Safe travels there.
Thank you so much. Thank you, buddy. I appreciate you, man. Have a good one.
Yeah, of course. Thank you. Thanks, Daniel.
Bye.
See ya.
We'll always remember that 3-wide finish in Atlanta in 2023. Awesome to get a chance to talk to Daniel Suarez about that. Hope you enjoyed that too. Now for discussions with Dave, part 2. 2027 Daytona 500 will not be held on President's Day weekend like it has for as long as I can remember. Will be moved back a week. The NFL season is moving back a week, and will host the Super Bowl on President's Day weekend next year. Here are my two sides of this. Realistic side. Yes, football is always going to be the top dog in sports viewership. We know that just from views historically and how much these games actually bring in, and of course the Super Bowl. Unfortunately, the Daytona 500 and NASCAR just cannot compete with that. Totally get how the NFL can kind of choose their own weekend, and a lot of people party for the Super Bowl, host events. I get it. Most people, the average American, would want the day off after the Super Bowl. I understand that. Now, the NASCAR side of me really annoys me. I don't like change to begin with, but yes, that's part of life. But President's Day weekend is Daytona 500 Day. That's the weekend. No more argument. Football, get out of here. Roger Goodell, go kick rocks, please. Your season, as long as it is, host it the week before like you always have. Stick to that plan. Now back to even keel NASCAR reporter Dave. I get it. In the end, it's business, and sometimes business decisions might not go the way you want them. Still, the Daytona 500 is going to happen in 2027, and it's going to be awesome. And if you're going to be nitpicky and compare the two events from this past year, was the Super Bowl between the Patriots and the Seahawks really entertaining? There wasn't a touchdown scored until the fourth quarter. The Daytona 500 has the Thunderbirds flying across, the sound of freedom. Cars full throttle for 500 long miles. But that's just me. Let me know how you feel. Now, the next topic on discussions with Dave. Joe Gibbs Racing files a lawsuit against Chris Gabehart? Yes, that is happening. At the end of last year, in the offseason, we saw abruptly Chris Gabehart leave Joe Gibbs Racing, who he'd previously been their director of competition. And now Joe Gibbs is accusing him of stealing confidential team information before departing the organization. Crazy. Gabe Hart abruptly left Joe Gibbs and then went to Spire Motorsports. In the claim, Joe Gibbs Racing alleges that in the days surrounding his November 2025 exit, Gabe Hart photographed sensitive data with his company laptop, synced proprietary files to a personal Google Drive folder labeled Spire, and retained race setup documents, analytic reports, payroll data, driver compensation figures, and sponsorship revenue information. Joe Gibbs claims the material constitutes trade secrets and says the alleged conduct occurred shortly before Gabe Hart received an offer from Spire. If that is true, that is a scathing report. We'll follow this lawsuit. And man, if you thought the 2311 front row versus NASCAR lawsuit was exciting, then you're in for another roller coaster. Next topic, Daytona 500 TV ratings. There was just under 7.5 million viewers for this past Sunday's 500, which was an 11% jump from 2025. It outscored every non-prime Winter Olympics broadcast. It was the most watched 500 since 2023. Peak viewership on Fox happened towards the end of the race, 5:30 to 5:45. Great news for NASCAR. Exciting to hear that. And that wraps up this episode's edition of Discussions with Dave. Now, the Truck Series drivers to look out for in Atlanta. We start out top of the board, and the guy that just won the Truck Series Championship in 2025 on a part-time Cup Series schedule with 2311, Corey Heim is back at his stomping grounds of Tricon Garage, driving their number 1 entry. In the number 5 entry for Tricon will be Adam Andretti. As we said, he is now on a part-time schedule with them. Kyle Busch will be back in a truck seat, driving the 7 for Spire. Veteran truck driver Grant Enfinger always seems to be up front at these big tracks. Can he do it again? Caden Honeycutt in the 11, which was the same truck that Corey Heim put to the championship last year, saw Honeycutt up front late in the Daytona race. Can he do that again? I sure think so. Same with Justin Haley. Believe he will be the top Ram out of Colleague Racing. Giovanni Ruggiero is turning into a super speedway ace. Saw him win Talladega at the end of the Truck Series season last year. Was running well in ARCA and in the truck race. And guess what? He won the ARCA race. Another one to look out for. Chandler Smith, fresh off the win in Daytona. Can he go back to back? Can't count out that Nice Motorsports stable. Ricky Stenhouse Jr., Andres Perez de Laura, Tyler Reif. John Hunter Nemechek will be driving the 62 again for Halmar Friesen Racing. Carson Hocevar again doing triple duty. What can he do in the truck seat? Last but not least, already 2-time Truck Series champ, Ben Rhodes. Now for the O'Reilly Series drivers to look out for. Guy that was in the mix in the second Atlanta race last year, Carson Kvapil. Jesse Love. We know what him and his teammate Austin Hill can do at this track. Justin Allgaier, another veteran that should be up front. Giovanni Ruggiero, just talking about him in the trucks. He's going to be back in that Joe Gibbs 19 car. Nick Sanchez, who won this race in the second time O'Reilly went there last year. Ross Chastain will be driving the Jordan Anderson 32. Sam Mayer in the 41 should be fast. Taylor Gray should be another competitive Joe Gibbs car in this one. Last but not least, the guy that parked it on the start-finish line several years ago, Josh Williams. Now, the drivers to look out for in Atlanta, Cup Series. Just talking about him doing the triple duty. He was in the mix in Atlanta last year, Carson Hocevar. Ricky Stenhouse Jr. has a number of Xfinity/O'Reilly Series wins in Atlanta. Can we see him at the top of the board? I sure think so. The guy that just won the Daytona 500, Tyler Reddick. Those Penske cars should be lights out. Be on the lookout for all three of them. Austin Cindric, Ryan Blaney, and Joey Logano. Christopher Bell nabbed one of the Atlanta wins last year. Can he go back to victory lane? Don't count out that Fast 21 of Josh Berry. And Chase Elliott, who won the second Atlanta race in a great overtime finish last year. Those are the drivers to look out for in the Atlanta Cup Series race. Now for Fast Davies bets. Trucks, give me a top 5 for Daniel Dye. O'Reilly Auto Parts, Carson Kvapil, top 3 is plus 320. Cup Series, staying on the Carsons, Carson Hocevar top 5 is plus 235. And now for trivia answer time. This episode's question is, Tyler Reddick is the 4th driver all time to score his first 9 Cup Series victories at all 9 different tracks. Bill Elliott and Jeff Gordon are 2 more. Name the 3rd. The answer is Kyle Busch. Now our predictions for Atlanta. Trucks, give me the guy that won the championship last year, Corey Heim. Xfinity, he's going to be going back to back and eating some peaches in victory lane, Austin Hill. Cup Series, he might want to trim his mustache a little bit if he's going to go to victory lane. Give me Ryan Blaney. As always, we're sponsored by Magical Travel with Dave, aka Disney Dave Weichert, my father. He will be able to help you with all your Disney and Universal vacation needs. He can be reached at DisneyDaveW@Verizon.net. Please make sure you follow all the Splash of Gas social medias for midweek and on-track updates. Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube are all Splash of Gas with Dave Weichert. Hope everyone has enjoyed the interview with Daniel Suarez and gets a chance to watch the racing action from Atlanta this weekend. Till next time, everybody, Splash of Gas out.